Criminals Who Almost Got Away. Episode 3, The Craigslist Killer. Boston, Massachusetts. Spring of 2009. A city known for history, medicine, and ambition became the hunting ground for a man living a double life. By day, he was a promising medical student with a future in healing. By night, investigators would allege he carefully targeted victims through online ads on Craigslist. His name was Philip Markoff. To friends and family, he was intelligent, polite, and engaged to be married. Nothing about him suggested violence. Nothing hinted at the crimes that would soon shock Boston, or how close he came to getting away with them. This is the story of the Craigslist killer and the digital trail that exposed him. The perfect image. He was 22 years old, studying medicine, preparing for a respected career. Classmates described him as focused and disciplined. He didn't stand out as reckless or unstable. If anything, he appeared controlled. A trait that would later take on a far more chilling meaning. He had a fiancée. Wedding plans were underway. His life appeared structured, predictable, safe. But investigators would later uncover a pattern hidden beneath that ordinary routine. A second identity built quietly, patiently, and deliberately online. He wasn't searching randomly. He was selecting, planning, preparing, and for a time, no one suspected a thing. The digital hunting ground. In 2009, online classified ads had become a routine part of daily life. People used them for housing, jobs, and services. Among those listings were ads posted by women offering companionship or massage services. Those ads became his entry point. He contacted women through anonymous email accounts. He arranged meetings in upscale hotels. He presented himself as calm, professional, and trustworthy. He used disposable communication methods, false names, carefully timed interactions. There was no chaos in his approach. Everything suggested control, and that control nearly kept him invisible. April 10th, 2009. The first known attack. A young woman traveled to Boston after arranging a meeting with a client through an online ad. She expected an ordinary transaction. Instead, she encountered a man who initially appeared polite and composed until the situation abruptly turned violent. He restrained her, robbed her, threatened her. But she survived. Shaken and terrified, she reported the crime. Investigators documented her account and gathered a description. A young, clean-cut man who didn't appear nervous or erratic. At the time, there wasn't enough evidence to identify him. The incident might have remained an isolated assault, but 4 days later, everything escalated. April 14, 2009. The murder. Another woman arranged a meeting with a client at a luxury hotel in Boston's Back Bay neighborhood. She was last seen entering her room with a man. When she failed to respond to calls, hotel staff checked on her. Inside, they found her bound and unresponsive. She had been murdered. There were no signs of forced entry, no obvious disruption in the hotel corridors. The killer had entered calmly and left just as calmly, but he didn't leave unnoticed. The first mistake. Surveillance hotels are built for privacy, but they are also built for security. Cameras quietly record movement through hallways, elevators, and lobbies. Detectives began reviewing surveillance footage from the day of the murder. They saw him, a young man in a baseball cap, clean-cut, composed, moving through the hotel with deliberate calm. No panic, no rush, no visible fear. He looked exactly like someone who belonged there. And that normalcy almost protected him. But cameras recorded more than appearance. They captured timing, movement patterns, entry and exit points. A timeline began to form. The pattern emerges. Investigators connected the earlier assault to the homicide. The method was strikingly similar. The victim profile matched. The behavior pattern aligned. This wasn't a single act of violence. It was a system. Detectives shifted focus to digital forensics, emails used to arrange meetings, internet activity, Communication logs. Online anonymity had given the offender confidence, but anonymity leaves traces. Each message, each login, each connection created data, and data can be followed. The survivor who helped break the case. Then came a critical development. Another woman reported a similar encounter. She described being restrained and robbed, but managed to survive. Her description matched both the earlier victim's account and the surveillance footage. She provided key behavioral details. He was calm, composed, and methodical. His demeanor never appeared frantic or emotional. That consistency told investigators something crucial. This offender wasn't improvising. He was executing a plan, and people who plan often repeat patterns. B. The Net Titan's digital records began to converge. Anonymous accounts were traced through technical analysis. Communication histories revealed patterns of contact and scheduling. The trail did not lead to a criminal underworld. It led to a medical student living an outwardly normal life. Friends described shock. Classmates expressed disbelief. His personal life appeared stable and structured, yet the evidence continued to align. Surveillance footage, digital records, witness testimony. Individually, each piece was incomplete. Together they were compelling. Police moved to make an arrest. The arrest. When authorities took him into custody, the reaction was immediate and intense. Those who knew him struggled to reconcile the allegations with the person they believed they understood. Investigators recovered items they believed linked him to the crimes. The case against him strengthened rapidly. The man who had blended seamlessly into ordinary life now faced charges connected to murder and violent attacks. But the story did not end with the arrest. In many ways, the most unsettling chapter was still ahead. Behavior in custody. While awaiting trial in a high-security facility, his behavior drew attention. Officials observed calculated actions that mirrored the controls seen in the crimes. He attempted to fashion sharp objects from available materials. He tested the limits of supervision. He adapted to restrictions with methodical persistence. The same traits that defined his alleged offences, planning, patience, precision, remained present. Then came a sudden and irreversible development. The end before trial. Before the case could proceed to trial, he was found dead in his cell. Authorities ruled the death a suicide. With that, the legal process ended. There would be no courtroom testimony, no public examination of motive, no full explanation of intent. For investigators and families, many questions remained unanswered. Why did he choose these victims? How long had he planned his actions? Would the pattern have continued? Those answers disappeared with him. Why he almost got away. This case remains chilling not only because of the violence involved, but because of how close the offender came to avoiding justice entirely. He nearly succeeded because he appeared trustworthy. Society often expects danger to look obvious. He used technology strategically, creating distance between himself and his victims. He chose controlled environments that offered privacy, and he maintained a convincing double life. But what ultimately exposed him were the same systems he relied on. Digital records, surveillance cameras, survivors who spoke up. Technology helped conceal him, and then revealed him. Closing narration. Some criminals hide in darkness. Others hide in plain sight. The most dangerous ones are often those who appear ordinary, those who understand trust, routine, and perception. The Craigslist killer constructed a life that looked perfect on the surface, but beneath that surface was a pattern that could not remain hidden forever. And sometimes, the truth is uncovered not by chance, but by the small details a person believes no one will notice.